Hello, you're listening to Nick Needs to Know, the podcast. Join me as I have open, honest and relatable conversations around careers, mindsets and life in general, and what that looks like for each one of our different guests. On this episode, I am joined by Gillian Stevenson from Livingston, who is currently a head of field for a large media company, where we discuss her life and career, both past and present. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Hi, Jill. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. All good.
Thank you.
Sun is shining.
Yeah, it looks sunny where you are. It's not as nice down here though. This part of the country, it's a bit grey today. Thank you for joining me today on my podcast. You're aware of what it entails. It's talking about careers, lifestyles, mindsets, etc. And currently, you are a head of field for a large media company. But what I want to know is the journey that was taken to get to that position. So if you could take us back a few years, Jill, possibly, and tell me about your first job and what that entailed.
I think that is way more than just a couple of years. Well, I suppose I've got two first jobs. So my first job was probably with my mum and dad. So when I was a bit a teenager, my mum and dad, I think my dad was having a midlife crisis and decided that he didn't like neighbours anymore, and bought a field and decided to build a house on it. But to get planning permission for the house, they needed to have a business with the land. So they set up like a nursery for heathers and conifers, so of growing small plants.
Okay.
So it used to pay me £2.50 an hour to take maybe an inch size plant and repot it. And then they would grow. So that was probably the first time I ever got paid for doing anything. And then when I left high school, I didn't work throughout high school other than my £2.50 an hour for my dad, was in Asda, and I made the pizzas at the pizza counter. And
That's my favourite part of Asda.
I loved it. It was a great job.
Yeah.
I used to work on a Friday night, and oh my goodness, see the queue.
Yeah.
It was massive. And you used to get a discount because you worked there. So my mum and dad used to shop in Asda. And what you would then find is my mum and dad would come and I would have my pizza all made for my dinner, and I used to hand it over to them and they used to go and buy it for me every week. It's good.
So going back to your first job with the plant potting, was that sort of a means to an end for you dad then? Or did that business then flourish and did it carry on? Because you said he had to do something to get the planning permission.
Yeah, so it was totally a means to the end to get planning permission to build the house, right? He still had his full-time job, and we used to kind of do it at the weekend. So he had to build like big polytunnels, the big plastic tunnels. So we had two of those, and that's where you would grow them when you were little. We had this big shed where all the soil was, and then a big bit outside for when they were getting bigger and they used to grow. And then every now and again he would maybe drive round the petrol stations and sell them. So when you walked in the petrol station, you would see little plants and stuff. He used to just drop them off, and it was purely in case anybody ever came to check whether or not we were above board that we had a business with land. Yeah, exactly. But it made it harder when my mum and dad sold the house because obviously the conditions still stayed. But yeah, it was a complete and utter means to an end, and in case we got inspected.
So then you've gone on to making pizzas at Asda.
Yeah.
Was this obviously a part-time job? Did you carry on with further education from school?
Yeah, so I left high school. I was 17 actually when I left high school. I didn't stay for 6 years. In Scotland, it's very different, right? So you can just stay in high school for 5 years and then you can go to uni if you've got the grades to go to uni. So, which I did. So I was 17 when I went. My whole first year at uni, I couldn't drink. Well, technically I couldn't drink. Because I was 17. And that was the time I got a job. So yeah, Asda was my first job making the pizzas, and my brother, actually, my brother's 14 months older than me, so he kind of helped get me in because he already worked there.
Yeah.
So I used to work at the pizza bit, and he used to work filling the freezers, like right in front of me. So I had like a pal to chat to pretty much
So
most of the time.
What was that interview like then, going into Asda? Because you said you had your brother helped you get in.
Yeah,
I don't think there's much of that about nowadays, is there?
No. Well, no, I don't think it's allowed anymore. I think
No.
it was just that you at least could probably see that he was hardworking and maybe assume that his younger sister would be too.
Yeah.
But my job in Asda was great. The only problem was, right, when you're on the pizza counter, you've got to cover the deli. And when you cover the deli, you've also got to cover the fish counter.
Right.
So covering the fish counter till 8 o'clock on a Saturday night when you're going out isn't the best. Because you panic that you're going to go out and you have a certain odour around you when you're in the nightclub, even if you have showered multiple times.
Yeah, stinking of fish, you're going to clear that dance floor, aren't you?
Yeah, indeed. So while I was at uni, I had that job, and then I went totally upmarket and went to Dorothy Perkins and Burton's Menswear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big shift then, isn't it?
Yeah, I decided I wanted to be warm for a change.
Yeah.
Because for those who know me, I don't really like the cold, right?
And you're from Scotland?
Oh yeah, I hate the cold. My body hates the cold. I can't cope with it.
Yeah.
So there was this place that they built that was like a discount shopping centre near where I stayed. So they opened a Burton's and Dorothy Perkins, and they used to have a tunnel in between them, like, so it was joined. It was a joined shop, but two different like till sets. So that was pretty cool, and I stayed in that job until I left uni. So I was probably there for quite a while. But I got to the point there that the lady who used to run the shop for Dorothy Perkins, the manager, so she used to work Monday to Friday. So she was loving this, because then I used to work all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So I had keys to the shop. I was on call if the alarm went off. And I used to sit in the office sometimes if you have a hangover, to do all the money at the end of the day and stuff. So I did a lot of the paperwork, not just stand at the till. That was my little promotion within Dorothy Perkins.
Taking on more responsibility.
Yeah.
Indirectly, I guess. I'm not guessing you were paid.
Oh no, you didn't get paid more money for it.
No.
But a manager loved it because she just used to work Monday, Friday.
Yeah.
So and I worked about 30 hours a week in Dorothy Perkins when I was at uni.
Whilst at uni as well, yeah.
Yeah. And I bought myself a brand new car while I was at uni, doing my 30 hours a week. I bought a brand new Citroen Saxo.
And
I used to drive to uni in my cool. No,
VTR?
don't be ridiculous. No. And that was back in the day where you got 2 years free insurance when you bought a car, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a big deal. My payments are £178 a month. That's all I spent my money on. Lived with my mum and dad at uni while I was at uni. Drove in my brand new car at uni. I thought it was the bee's knees.
And whilst at uni, then what were you studying for? What was your aspirations after leaving uni?
See, and I'm just going to sound really boring now, right? So when I was at school, bear in mind, right, I'm young when I left. This is me backtracking. I was young when I left high school, so didn't really know what I wanted to do at all. But my favourite subject at school was maths.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved maths. Was really good at maths. I was really fast at maths. So I thought, I was looking through the UCAS book, big chunky book. Got to the letter A. Thought, accountancy. That's all maths. Let's do that. So off I popped to uni to do a degree in accountancy and finance.
Obviously, you've passed all that. You've passed with flying colours, I'm guessing.
Well, I didn't stay for four years. I decided just to do the 3 years because very quickly I think I decided that I didn't want to be an accountant. So I had this thing in my head to go, why would I stay and do an honours? I've got Bachelor of Science is what I've got. When it's not something that I really want to go and do.
Yeah.
So that's what I left after 3 years. I was 20 years old when I left uni. And I thought, I'm just going to go and figure out what I want to do.
And did that help direct you in your career then? Did you choose a job?
No.
With the help of your qualifications? No,
I don't think I really use anything in accountancy anymore, or I've used very little since I left. So when I left uni, my brother was also at the same uni. It's like we're little twins, right?
Yeah.
He did a maths degree. Tells you a lot about our family, doesn't it? Anyway, we both left and got a temp job at Telewest, which is now Virgin. So my first job when I left, like full-time job when I left uni, was I used to phone customers to say, we've got an engineer coming tomorrow. Are you going to be in? It was a very useful use of my degree, wasn't it?
I can see where it comes into it there, yeah.
And then I got a little promotion where I used to manually do the routing at Telewest for the engineers. And then I got another little promotion to the director of the operations. I was their PA for a little bit.
Wow. So you say a little promotion, but that's quite a big responsibility, I think.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a chatterbox. So,
so do you enjoy taking on that there is more responsibility and putting yourself forward for this then?
Yeah, I think there's always a little bit where you're always looking for more. Yeah. And you can actively show that you're looking for more and looking for more of a stretch. I'm probably never the person who goes, I'm finished that, and would just kind of pretend that they're not got anything to do or they were still working on something. I'm not very good when I've not got something to do. So I would always be like, oh, well, I'm finished that. And I'm generally quite fast at things. At doing things. So I would finish something, I'd be right, okay, well, what's next? And I think the other thing is it's been quite likable. Like if you're genuinely quite friendly, upbeat, positive, it warms to other people, and then they get interested in what your capabilities are if you're looking for more.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you know what? That was a great experience. My brother got a temp job there. He did something slightly different, and he's still there.
He's still there. What as Virgin though?
He's still there as Virgin.
Yeah.
So various different roles, but he's my brother stayed. And
would you say he has the same sort
not the same job
mentality as you though? Is he working his way up?
Yeah, he's done it. I mean, he's made a lot of moves up, but he's definitely stayed within the same company. Whereas I probably went through my head to go, I don't know what I need. I felt like I needed a career or something that I could. And probably at the time, I thought I need something that I can have a career for life, something that's going to be quite meaty. And at the time, in Livingston, where I live, there was a brand new bank being set up, right? And it was new, innovative. It was going to be a 24-hour bank, and it was called Intelligent Finance.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody remembers Intelligent. So it was a kind of, it was Halifax that kicked it off, but it was supposed to be a really cool, funky bank. So I applied for a job there. That was probably one of the hardest interviews I've ever had in my whole career, right?
In what way? Just scary or?
There were so many elements to it. So you had a competency-based interview, you had a team event like scenario to do, you had a telephony role play to do, because you didn't have any branches, so it was all either contact centre or back office that you would work in. And I thought, oh my God, one, they're going to pay me more money. Yes. Two, God, working in a bank's like a proper career, right? That's what I had in my head. That was there's something that I could do for the rest of my life. You can see how this worked out, right? Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. So it was really, it was a difficult interview, but I managed to get through, and I was offered a job. Bear in mind, it's a 24-hour bank, on a 3:00 in the afternoon shift to 11:00 at night was my day.
Wow.
Like on a rotation for the 7 days a week. And I closed accounts. All I did was close current like bank accounts, because it was a new bank. They had obviously developed all their systems and stuff like that, but because they thought it was going to be so cool, nobody would ever want to close their account. So we were a back office team that everything was manual. So you had to work out everybody's interest manually. You can see where my numbers element comes in. So you had to manually calculate all the interest for every single transaction till the account was closed and stuff like that. If it wasn't closed on like the last day where the interest was added. So I did that for a bit. That was quite interesting. Working 3 till 11 was hard.
3 till 11 in an office.
In and off, and it's like a factory, right?
Yeah.
It was just like a factory building, all open plan, contact centre down one end and you were down the other, and there was like hardly anybody there because you were on a 3 till 11 shift. But it was really cool, right?
Promotion wise, did you get to climb any sort of ladders within that company?
I did, yeah. So I started off in account closures, and then they decided they were going to do a spin-off of Intelligent Finance. They'd paired up with a private, what are they called? Like financial advisors called St James's Place. Right, sounds super posh. And what they would do was open another like white labelled bank called St James's Place Bank. Right, and as part of that, they needed a team of people that had experience all the way through the banking process to set up this tiny little part of the bank. Right, there's probably about, I'm going to say 50 to 100 people between the contact centre and like the back office teams. And I don't think I went through an interview process for that, not that I can remember. But I got picked to go, right? And they never really told you why. I think that was just because I was probably, again, eager to learn, really curious about other parts of the business. I remember I'd gone and volunteered for overtime in other parts of the business, again, pay for my holiday or something like that. I would just get my hands dirty with anything, go and try something, learn it. So I moved over to St James's Place Bank, and I was like, that was elitist because your badge was changed to say you worked for St James's Place Bank and everything, like you were proper posh. So I worked in that team, and because it was so small, I went from just closing accounts to doing pretty much anything in the back office function. So that was a really good learning experience. And what was really cool about that is one of the St James's partners was on the panel for the lottery winners. So when you win the lottery, they give you a list of financial advisors to pick from to help you, obviously, because you've won a lot of money. And I was also part of the team. If this financial advisor got picked as part of the panel, I would work with the people who'd won the lottery. So you would kind of case manage them a little bit. So I got to meet lots of interesting people.
Lottery winners, then, yeah.
Yeah, for the lottery winners. And I remember phoning somebody once, and it was a lady's daughter who'd won the lottery, and she was on holiday, and she said, Jill, could you phone me back? She's like, I've got no credit in my mobile. I was thinking, you've just got millions of pounds. Anyway, and there was, some of the people were lovely, but you also felt a little bit sorry sometimes because they used to get so many begging letters from people.
Yeah, I
think it was quite hard. And like just all of a sudden, from sometimes having absolutely no money to having lots of money, and like some people didn't even know how to work a switch card, and they're like, I'm sitting trying to book a holiday and I don't know how to do it. And so you would try and walk them through. So you did a lot of case management, but you met a lot of great people, right? Met a lot of great people. And then I moved from there back into Intelligent Finance, albeit it's all in the same building. This is the first time I got a promotion. So I got a promotion and I became a team manager in the complaints team. But my team didn't deal with the complaints. They looked at the complaints data. So in the bank, you have to, for regulations, you have to log every single complaint and capture it within a system. So everybody who was handling the complaints would do that, and my team looked at all the data to go, what are the root causes of the complaints? So they did a lot of data, and then they also then did process improvement on what do we need to do as an organisation to improve our customer experience. Right. So that was a great job. That was really interesting. Loved the data side. Loved building the packs and trying to you would present that to different areas of the business. So maybe the collections team saying, some of your scripting's not great. What does here's some recommendations on what you could do to do better to solve the complaints. So you were looking for themes and things like that. So that was really cool. And I worked with this lovely lady who ran the whole of the complaints department. And it was because of her was instigated my next move in my career.
The lady you worked with?
Yeah.
And how did that come about then? What was the instigation there?
She left. She moved. She moved to Sainsbury's Bank.
Okay.
Which, again, was an internal move, right? Because between this time, I think Halifax and Bank of Scotland merged. And Sainsbury's Bank used to be a joint venture between Sainsbury's Supermarkets and Bank of Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
But when they then, Halifax and Bank of Scotland merged, it became a joint venture with HBOS. So she moved and got a promotion in Sainsbury's Bank, and gave me a shout one day because they had another job. And off I merrily went for my interview. It was way different. It was very much more of an informal discussion. But you were shaking like a leaf because you felt like you were dealing with some senior people now. You were the big guns, right?
Yeah.
And this was kind of an ops, probably somewhere between a team manager and kind of ops manager level role.
Yeah.
Didn't have any direct reports. So I went from running a team to not having a team. And I used to do all the support stuff. So they outsourced all their banking. And so there was a team of people who were kind of relationship managers to manage the outsourcers and the customer experience that the bank wanted to offer. And I did a lot of their reporting, kind of structure, governance, that kind of stuff for them. And again, it was a really small team of people. There was 10 people running all the operations.
So what was it like going from having a team of people that you run, because obviously running a team, you build relationships with them people, to then having no direct reports? Was that an easy transition, or did you find that hard to deal with at the time?
No, I didn't think it hard to deal with, because I'm an easy doer.
Yeah.
I've got a natural thing to do. Actually, probably the stretch over time for me has been more about actually being a leader and not doing the do.
Okay. So you find delegating harder than
sometimes, yeah.
You'd rather have control yourself.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a control freak, but yeah. So I was quite happy. I used to go into my work and I would work away, and it was a great team of people to work with. Again, honestly, quite happy to just do the do. So I think that was cool. I really enjoyed Sainsbury's that time within that team. It felt like a really small family. There was probably only 80 people in the whole of the bank.
Okay.
Right. And a great career move for me to move to Sainsbury's Bank because it was so small. It was a massive opportunity to learn how a whole bank works. Because your whole bank is only 80 people. And we restructured at one point. So they moved from working in a functional area, so like all the relationship managers working together across all the different product types, to working in products. So you would have one director that would look after everything to do with savings. So right from the product, the marketing, the operational, they would look at it at a product level. And I worked in that team, but they also put treasury, right? So the bank's treasury. And I used to be the cover for the one person in the whole bank when he went on holiday. I used to do the treasury deals.
Okay.
Which was totally bizarre, and like if you say it out loud now, it feels really surreal. Like you would phone up, like H boss, he'd be like, can I do an overnight of 80 million? Because a bank can't have cash sitting for long. That's just a waste of money sitting in the bank. You need a certain amount. So what you used to have to do every morning is go, what do you think is going to come out, like from a cost perspective? What do we think we've got left in the bank? And you roll over and do a deal for 24 hours. So the money is lent to somebody, you get some kind of cash back and interest on that so it's back in your bank account because you might need it tomorrow.
And then someone's put you, obviously you were in charge of that for a couple of
weeks. Only when the guy went on holiday.
Yeah. So obviously that's something else. You must have put your name forward to do that, or you must have been.
I was just asked to do it.
Yeah, and you've not said no.
No, I've not said no. And then by this time I'd been married, right? Yeah. By this time I was married. I actually met my first husband when I worked at St James's Place Bank.
And was all this banking work pre-2008, 2007? Because there was a massive worldwide recession at that time, wasn't there?
Yeah. So this part still is. We're still pre-2008. And I think at this point I had my son, my oldest son. And this is an interesting story about Gill. So every time I went off on maternity leave, I would come back and get a promotion.
Okay.
So off I went to have my son, and I came back, and my boss at the time, I'd moved, just before then, and I got a job, and I became a relationship manager, right? So I looked after savings and mortgages.
Yeah.
And I had a boss who did the same job, but he was a higher banding than me. So looked after the operations for savings and mortgages, used to go and see the outsourcer. You would define what your customer experience is. You would manage them. You would do a bit of tests. You would do some engagement, sit with people, learn what level of service they were giving you. So great job, great team. So then I went away and had a baby, and I came back, and I moved to a 4-day week, compressed hours, 4-day week. And my boss at the time then decided to leave, Liam. My boss Liam left. And again, I was like, oh my goodness, did I go for his job? I was asked to cover it till they found the cover. So that's what I did. I put my big girl brave pants on and thought, I'm going to go for it. To which I remember the head of savings at the time said to me, his feedback after my interview was, one, I wasn't allowed to do compressed hours anymore. I had to work a 5-day week, which made me sad, but there we go. It was 1 day less with my son, but I decided that was the right thing to do if I wanted to progress.
Yeah.
And the other thing was he was quite a old school banker, and he told me that I needed to be more like steel and tougher. That was his feedback. It's funny how these little things always stay in your head.
And did that feedback stick with you? Did you actually act on that, or did you just think, no, I'm not? I'm going to continue being Gill. I'm not going to turn into somebody else.
I can't be like, I genuinely can't be like anybody. I can only be myself, right? I find it really difficult to be somebody else. I think it's short-lived and it makes me miserable. So no, I didn't. You can take me or leave me, right? So no, and I absolutely, that was a great job. Loved being the boss. Loved the autonomy of decision making, and loved being part of thinking, because I was then in the kind of group that were thinking about the whole end-to-end like experience between sales, trading, how are we doing from a sales perspective, all the way through from an end-to-end customer journey perspective. So that was really great. I started to then get nosy about the other products, and because there was people who did the same job, but we weren't all part of a team. So I did a little work to try and bring the different products together from a customer experience, and how do we get a consistency in the experience that we offer rather than do it in product silos. And we had a really senior guy came in, Richard Marriott, his name is, if he ever listens to this, and he actually runs now Amazon in Turkey.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And he used to sit like 2 desks away from me. I remember him saying to me when I told him I was going to name my daughter Scarlett, he was like, "Oh my goodness, would you really?" My mother-in-law, he says, would never let me call my kid that. I thought it was funny. So, Richard was hugely passionate, really, really nice guy. Felt like I had a bit of an ally. So again, I think it comes out in your personality, and I'm never scared of some. I always try to think about people as humans.
Yeah.
Right. And although sometimes senior people can be really scary, they're still humans. And I think when you sit in a close proximity to them and you just chat to them on a day-to-day basis, they see you as you, and you see them as them, and you see them as normal human beings. So yeah, Richard gave me a little bit of a leeway to try and think about how do we bring some stuff together. And I remember being quite heavily pregnant and having to go into the directors of the bank to present. Actually, it'd be really good if we could start joining together the customer experience and things. And see, the thing in your career, right? You've really got to put yourself out there sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And I think that would always be my advice to people. Like, nobody breezes through and going, every single thing that you do is easy and nothing's scary. There's loads of things in your career that are so scary that you don't really want to do, but you kind of do anyway.
Yeah. So having said that, I mean, listening to your story there, Jill, it comes across that you like to say yes to things that you may think are going to benefit your progression.
Yeah.
There must have been certain times, like you've just touched on there, where you've thought, I wish I didn't say yes to this. This is, I'm struggling with this. How do you deal with those sort of situations when you feel like you're going to possibly fail at something you've said you'll do?
I think there's always this inner voice in you to go, you don't know until you try it.
Yeah.
Right. And amongst this time, right, I'd also had a divorce, and I'd met someone else. And so my second child, as we go, right, we're on the second one now. Or she's about to go on mat leave for the second one.
Then.
Yeah, there's another promotion coming. You got it right. And the one thing I would say is, like, William, he's my husband now. He wasn't my husband at the time, but the daughter of my child, the father of my daughter, really gave me a lot of confidence, actually, in my ability, and would really push me to be uncomfortable, right? Because I would come home and you would talk about things. I'm quite an extrovert when it comes to things at work, and I come home and I download, and he's always been so super supportive to go, and a real belief in my ability to just go do it, which is what he did. So I then went on maternity leave, to have my daughter Scarlett, because I did call her Scarlett. And then when I was off, so if you think about, I was telling you before I went off, we were talking about how do we amalgamate and I get a consistent customer experience. The bank restructured, right? So this is after 2008. So you're going from a focus of customer experience. We need to retain our customers after the crisis, and they decided that they would join together all of the operational teams. And so a job came up for the head of customer service at little old Sainsbury's Bank. And I thought, oh my goodness, I would absolutely love this job. This is like my ultimate dream job to have. Got all the influence that I was after. But I thought, you got to be in it to win it, right? But there's absolutely no way they're going to give it to me.
That was your thought?
That was my thought. And I was on mat leave at the time. So again, you're totally distant from the organisation, right? And I was lucky enough, again, luck plays a massive part, right? And who knows you, who doesn't, and there's a real belief in you and your as an individual and your ability. So before I'd gone off, I had a mentor called Simon, who worked in another part of the bank at the time. So he was my mentor, and he then was moved over to be the director, and he was going to look after all the operations, the retail element of Sainsbury's Bank, where we had travel money in Sainsbury's, if anybody remembers that, Sainsbury's stores, and also the whole digital experience, right? So he created a role for head of customer service, this head of customer service role. So I was like, well, at least Simon knows me, right? But there's no chance in hell, because they were going externally as well as internally, right? There's no way they're going to give me the job. And they bloody did.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I was on mat leave, and I remember dumping Scarlett off at my mum's, going, right, I need to drive in, and like, oh, you're trying to prep for this interview, and it was a competency-based interview, and I thought it went okay, but I just thought there's no way. I just feel like I'm so far. People will think it's too big a jump, and I take my hat off to Simon, because he believed in me.
Yeah.
And he gave me the job, and I tell you, the first 3 months was really tough, really hard. It was massive learning curve, right?
And did you try and learn that by yourself, or did you surround yourself with people that?
I had a brilliant team of people, but it wasn't even the team and what the team did that was hard. It was then having to step, because it felt like a real jump. Like you're dealing with way more senior people. I had to deal with audit, right? And I remember we'd been audited, and we had a list of actions. And I cocked something up, and I can't remember. I think I'd overpromised on an audit action, right? I remember sitting at my desk, like the tears were running down my face, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm totally useless." But you learn from it, right? And I think that is always the key. I would never ever make that mistake again. Of no problem. I was working with a third party organisation. I said that I would get them to do something without checking that I could actually get them to do something, right?
He said, yes, I can.
What a mistake that was. And then when you're late on your audit actions in the bank, it's not very good. But that probably was one of, I was 33 at the time, right? And I always say my best year in my whole life was when I was 33. I absolutely loved the job. We set up a whole team, brilliant team of people. Everybody was so knowledgeable. Created a customer committee across the bank. I remember the risk director saying to me once, "Yeah, Gill, this is the year of the customer." And I said to John, every year's the year of the customer, mate. They're fundamental. But I used to sit in a really senior meeting every month talking about the customer complaints. Again, the things that you've learned in the past come back to haunt you a little bit.
Yeah.
What was the customer feedback? What was our service strategy for the organisation? And my team, I remember, Sainsbury's Bank do a conference every year, or did a conference every year, and my team won Team of the Year in a really heavily focused organisation about trading. And I have to say, it's one of the best moments. To see everybody in my team get up on that stage in front of the whole bank because they won Team of the Year because of all the work and effort to improve the customer experience was absolutely brilliant.
It must have been rewarding for you to see that then.
Oh, it was just amazing. It was like everybody's hard work, because we were a right good network of team. Everybody would help each other, and it was just absolutely amazing. And then the bank decided, HBOS decided that they don't really want to be in a joint venture anymore. So there was a big push for Sainsbury's to either buy the whole bank, or you then just get amalgamated, probably, and the customer base gets amalgamated into HBOS. So that was a big decision point for the board, like the Sainsbury's board. We created, we had the Sainsbury's board. So if people remember back in the day, the man of Justin King, who used to run, he was the CEO of Sainsbury's, right? Came to the office. All the different people on the board came to the office, and we did this marketplace to show them. So I was presenting at this marketplace to, this is our service strategy, this is our whole customer proposition. And I was 2 weeks before my due date of my third child at this point, right?
You didn't care because you're getting a promotion anyway. I'm having another baby.
Right. And as sad as this is, I'd also made a decision to have my child in this period because this programme of work to potentially try and we were going to bring our operations in-house, or we were going to put it out to somebody else and put it out to tender. That had kicked off. We picked a new system and everything like that, and then everything got put on pause. So when it got put on pause, I decided I would nick off, have a baby, so that when I came back, I could deliver this project, right?
Yeah.
I love my work, right? You could probably tell that I love my work. It plays a huge part of my life. Anyway, so I presented in front of Justin King, and they decided they were going to buy it. So we're all good in the gang. And therefore, I went on mat leave, had my baby, had Charlie. And then as part of that, the project kicked off. So what we decided was, when I left, was that they would bring somebody else in. They would do my BAU job. And when I came back from my leave, I would just focus on setting up a brand new bank.
Mm-hmm.
To which we did. And it was great. So I became much more a part of a project team. So I had a team of people who would develop the processes, design the system. So every single drop-down box as part of the sales application, everything, and link it with the online. Massive. It felt like a massive job, right? We'd originally decided to outsource it, so continue to outsource it. We got 3 months in after I came back from mat leave and thought, this isn't working for us. This third party is trying to decide what our customer experience is. So did a lot of work with the vendor team to go, actually, is this what we want to do? We took, not me personally, but I helped work on the proposal to say, do we bring it in-house and actually set up a whole in-house operation? To which we decided to do that. So I got to be the lead to set up a whole in-house operation. I could build you a contact centre, right?
Yeah.
But it was brilliant because we two-paid people over from HBOS into Sainsbury's Bank. I got to pick the building. I got to pick the furniture in the building. So you were going from this to what's the end-to-end customer journeys. I used to sit at night and go through every single process map to make sure the whole end-to-end journey joined up together. It was an absolutely fantastic, amazing experience.
Wow. And that came to an end?
Then I decided, yeah, it did. So I actually left Sainsbury's Bank. I was 16 years.
16 years, that's
16
some
years.
service.
And I thought, if I don't go now, I'm never going to go. Interestingly, I had been on different leadership programs at that point. So as part of my growth and development, I got picked. It was an application process to be put onto the Sainsbury's leadership program, and it was a full day assessment to get onto a training course.
Wow.
And that was hard.
Yeah,
that was hard work. But yeah, I got a coach. So they did a lot of, I don't know how much this cost them, but it must have been a lot. Again, I think there was only 2 of us in the whole of the bank that did it and joined up with other people at Sainsbury's. So you got to build a network across Sainsbury's as well, which was great. Hugely, you had external companies talking to you about strategic thinking. How do you build high-performing teams? How do you communicate? The communication course was so hard. You had to do this presentation, and it was a Japanese-style presentation, and it was every 2 minutes your slide had to move on. It was either 2 minutes or 20 seconds. 20 seconds, you could talk for 20 seconds and then your slide had to move on, and you weren't allowed any words on your slides.
Wow.
And they recorded it, and I remember being so nervous. I could hear my voice shaking. It was, but yeah, and it was. These things are totally invaluable, and I always look back on that and the things that I learned, particularly the time that I got with my coach. It was an external coach. She was ex-army. Talked to her a lot about what do I want to do. Did I want to ditch work completely and just go and be with my kids? Just go be mum? Do I want to progress, or do I want to stay where I am? And I remember saying, I was having this chat about, maybe I should just ditch it and go and like look after my kids. And she said, Jill, what else would you do? I was like, well, maybe go away and do some charity work and stuff like that. She's like, you're never going to see your kids any more than you do just now. You're just going to go and find something else to do. You may as well get paid for it. That's what she said. So at that point, I decided that I would look externally, and because there was nowhere to go, I was waiting for my boss to leave. So I thought I'd dip my toe out, because if I wasn't going to go, I wasn't going to go. I would stay. I would still be there. So I did, and I moved to Clydesdale Bank.
Another bank, yeah.
Another bank. I was in Clydesdale Bank for 18 months. Didn't love Clydesdale Bank. I'm a real person about the culture in an organisation, and it just wasn't for me. I'd gone from the fun, energetic, quite agile Sainsbury's Bank to what I would probably say is an old bank, very hierarchical.
Yeah.
Felt a little bit scary. People would shout at you sometimes, and it just wasn't for me at all. And I spent 18 months there, and then that was when, and I set up a whole support function there. So I looked after all the resource planning, data and insight, reporting, training for the operation, and change function as a support for the core, like, people leaders, if you like. So I did that. And I thought, oh, do you know what? Sky's in Livingston. It was an hour a week drive away as well, right? So it was really hard to be so far away from my kids. You would get home really late, or you were leaving really early. My work-life balance was not in a good place. So I thought, God, Sky's in Livingston. I'll maybe go try and see if I can get in there, which is what I did.
And then obviously a few promotions.
So when I moved, I applied, and I got in the door, my foot in the door as head of planning. So I was never a core planner. But I had planning teams before, so that was a real culture shift for me, to go from something that was roles that were always really, really broad to something that was really, really specific, in a much bigger organisation where you don't know everyone, which is where I find it quite hard.
And listening to you speak as well, Jill, the conversation is really heavily career focused. Like, you come across as the person that gets up in the morning and goes to bed at night, is just work in between. But what do you do to switch off from that? You must have a way of turning off from work. And
I would say Monday to Friday, I generally don't switch off from work. I will walk my dogs, and I will be thinking about work. So I might not always be at my desk, but I'm often dreaming up stuff, or wouldn't that be a good idea? Or I could, nothing's ever finished for me. Like, there's always ways you can make things better. One of my core values is about making a difference and making things better. I do it in my home. Like, I'm always decorating. I'm always trying to make it a nicer place for my lovely people and my family to live. But I do try and switch off at weekends, and just have a bit of concentrated time as a family. And then holidays are an absolute no-go for me. I don't look at anything to do with work on a holiday. And I'm on holiday, I'm on a holiday. But work can have me Monday to Friday.
Holidays? So is that once a year, twice a year?
Well, I'm getting old, you see. So my husband and I are getting on a bit. So we're trying to get to the point where we're doing maybe 2 or 3, maybe, definitely would be ideal. My kids are getting older as well. So I'm getting to the point where at some point they're not going to want to go on holiday with us anymore. So I'm a bit like, let's try and squeeze in as much family time together. And like, we've just came back from Madrid, and just walking around the city, like the 5 of us, and we're chatting. And my daughter said to me, do you know what I love about going on holiday? We sit and have dinner, and we just talk nonsense, and nobody's got anywhere to go.
No bedroom to run off to, no tablets to be hide behind. And
absolutely. Or nobody's got horse riding to go to, or swimming to go to, or football to go to, which is generally, like, our life is really busy. The kids have got busy lives in the evening. So, it's not unknown for me to be sitting in a car park at Nathan's football, he's at football training for an hour and a half, and I'm sitting on my laptop in a car for an hour and a half waiting for his football to finish to drive home. So this is where, like, work is never 9 to 5 for me.
Yeah.
Like, it blends in with my life. That's not like some days I'll finish up early because I've got something to go and do. It's just a floating part of my life. I don't see it as work.
It's more of a lifestyle than a job.
And something that I just absolutely love. I love working. Yeah. Love trying to make things better.
So we spoke about your past careers and things like that. What does the future look like for Gill Stevenson?
That's a really good question. What does the future look like? I don't know. You know, I've had so many conversations about, I feel like I'm a real core operational person. Mm-hmm. Right. And although you've got the degree in accountancy, I think there's a natural thing that people go, oh, well, numbers, is it commercial? And I think that would be okay, but I'm just not sure I'd get up every day with the same energy to go do. Yeah. Maybe that's wrong, right? Maybe that's just me being naive, and maybe I should go and try it. I don't think I will, dare I say, settle in the role that I've settled in the role that I'm in. But you know, I don't think I'll be here forever. I'm not a lifer in a role because I like change. I like change.
And
like
if you
to go
can't
and try
make
something
that change,
different.
Is that when you find that you're moving? If you can't make that change yourself.
Yeah, when things get easy or feel like your every day's getting a bit the same,
autopilot.
I need to shake it up.
Yeah,
because that doesn't make me happy.
Okay, so we're going to go on to quick fire questions.
Okay.
But before that, I wonder if you could tell us something that not many people know about you. Maybe an interesting fact or a hidden talent.
Interesting fact would be I've actually been on the TV twice in my life. Okay. One for the Girl Guides. Again, says a lot about Gill. And the second one, this is going to tell you even more about Gill. I was in a debate.
What sort of debate was it?
It was part of my English class at school, and it was a debate with another school about abortion.
Okay.
And an interesting fact is I can play a musical instrument because, again, I was in county band. Another great insight into Gill.
What musical instrument?
I started off on the cornet and I moved to the tenor horn. So I played in a quartet and also in county band.
So they'd be classed as brass?
Yes.
Brass instruments.
But just to be clear, I never ever went to a band camp.
Okay. It's now time for quick fire questions. Right, Gill, quick fire questions. Five pretty straightforward, simple questions for you. So question 1, what is your least favourite part about working from home?
My dog's barking when the window cleaner comes.
Okay.
It drives me nuts, and the one scares the other one.
That must only be once a fortnight or once a week, your window cleaner.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a life-changing experience, put it that way. I can't tell you the text my husband sends me when I'm not there. Like, you totally high-five when you're not in the house and the window cleaner comes. And he's in, and I get a text every time saying rude words.
Yeah. Question 2. If you could transform into one animal, which one would you choose?
Oh, a tiger. Tigers are my favourite animals.
Why a tiger?
Because they're brave. And yeah, because they're brave and they're cool and they're beautiful. I'd like to be one of them.
Okay. Question 3. The ability to fly or superhuman strength?
Oh, fly. I'm so nosy. I would be in everybody's garden, looking in the windows of their house, looking at how they've decorated their house. That would be me.
Just hovering like a drone outside someone's window.
Yeah, I'm so nosy. And I would like seeing you get new housing estates, just going in just to nose about and see what they look like, to get me ideas of how I could go and do something different with my own house. It drives my husband mad, right? So it's like the fourth rail bridge, always getting painted. The decorators are in just now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, question 4. Do you kill bugs you find inside, or do you take them outside?
I take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I take them out. If I had a wasp in the house, I would take it out. If I had a bee in the house, I would catch it in my hand and take it out. If I had daddy long legs or Jenny long legs or whatever anybody calls them.
Daddy long legs down there.
I'd catch it in my hand and it would go out the door. Same with spiders. So I wear the brave pants in the house.
Yeah, I think I now take them out, but years ago I'd just kill them. I think it's an age thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. As I've got older, I've got more sensitive to creatures and animals, and I'd have spent hours chasing a fly around the house with my fist years ago. But yeah,
I'm a veggie now though, so it feels a bit hypocritical to start killing things around the house when actually I won't consume it.
I was travelling to Knaresborough last week or a couple of days ago, I can't remember, and I'm on a dual carriageway and a squirrel ran out in front of the van. And now ideally I'd have swerved, but there were a car outside of me and my heart just stopped and I hit it. I had it going at wheel.
Oh, it's awful.
And like I say, years ago, it wouldn't have bothered me, but I felt sick for about 2.5 miles. And, you know, when you say when you have a near-death experience, your life flashes before you. That squirrel's life flashed before my eyes.
Oh, no.
I was thinking about his little squirrel wife and his little squirrel kids. And
who's he not feeding tonight?
Yeah. Like horrible.
I know, it is.
So, question 5, finally. What is something you could eat for a week straight?
Pizza or pasta.
Pizza. Deep fried pizza. Oh, there's a Scottish delicacy.
I do like a deep fried pizza, but I couldn't eat one of them every day. But I could pizza out the pizza oven. That I could easily have every day.
Brilliant. And that's it, Gill.
Excellent.
Some good content there, some good stories. Thank you very much for taking part in this podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
No problem. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit that follow button and join me next time for more chats on Nick Needs to Know.